Everything about his prepping was unconventional, simple, and more effective than any type of traditional prepping I've seen or learned about. He was able to leave his home and return without being harmed. He was able to eat and provide us with food when so many people were starving. He didn't use fire to cook so he wouldn't draw unwanted attention, and kept food from spoiling even though he didn't have electricity, using a trick so out of the box that I couldn't live with myself if I didn't share it with you. It operates simply on evaporation. The ring of sand that separates the two terracotta or clay pots is moist. The sun or the air pulls the moisture out. When this occurs, the interior pot cools down, thus keeping your food cooler and lasting longer. Materials needed: 2 unglazed clay or terracotta pots, one bigger than the other. 1 lid of some sort for the smaller pot. It can be a regular frying pan lid. Some type of sand, and a small shovel. You begin by covering the hole at the bottom of the pots with a plug or some duct tape in order for the water or sand not to seep out. Add a layer of sand to the bottom of the big pot so that the small pot can sit centered and leveled with the big pot. Next, add sand to the space between the 2 pots to about 1/4 inch from the top. I place the lid on here so that the sand doesn't get into the small pot. Compact the sand down a little bit, like so. Now it's time to add the water. This is a very simple process, but you need to be careful because if you add the water too quickly or in one spot, it's not evenly distributed, and something called liquefaction occurs, which means the water will actually go underneath the sand, resulting in the pot to float. Pour as slow as possible, evenly, by making passes like so. You can use whatever type of water you have available, even if it's not disinfected, but if you want to be extra cautious and ensure your food doesn't somehow get contaminated, use a plastic bag or something similar to hold the food. And if you're wondering how much water to add, well, that depends on the pot you use. The bigger the pot, the more water you'll need. But a good rule of thumb is to feel the sand wet without having water standing on it. Once the water is added, you can place your food inside, take the lid, and place it on the small pot. You can place it like this, but I prefer placing it like this, because you place some cotton cloths or towels like so. And the reason I want the lid to have this concave shape is because I want to place a weight or a rock on the lid to keep the cloths in place so that the wind doesn't blow them away. And that, in a nutshell, is the clay pot fridge. This device will prove crucial in preserving not only food, but also heat-sensitive medicine like insulin. We spent 2 weeks with Martin, and I soaked like a dry sponge the secrets he was sharing. And his techniques weren't rocket science. He hadn't spent a fortune on fences or walls or safe rooms. Martin did everything different, and I know that's the reason my brother and I are still alive to tell the tale.